Page. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance, and I usually post stuff up there several times a day, just as random thoughts kind of pop into my head. Because I feel like the holidays is a special time for us to really connect with the kids, right? To really, we want to, buy them Christmas gifts and do all these other wonderful things for them that they deserve. But then it's sort of like, okay, what does it really mean to give them a gift? Like, what gift are we really giving them that's going to last? Like, how do we give them something that's really going to take them to the next level and just make sure that they know that we love them, because the world is cold, the world is difficult. I was sitting there with my niece this weekend. My niece is 6 and my nephew's 4. And I was just sitting there thinking about how smart she is and how sweet she is and how I love her. And I was just thinking the best thing I can do for you is to get you ready for a world that doesn't love you as much as I do. And I really feel that that's something to meditate on because I see so many young people out here struggling. And every time I see a struggling young person, it almost seems like there's like a parent that didn't quite understand how hard life is going to be for them. Now I get it though. I think that some sort of challenge is important so they can grow. You grow from your challenges. But sometimes when it gets so hard that they just are giving up and feeling depressed and all this other stuff, that makes me feel bad. I don't know if anybody's seen how many there are studies out there now that basically say that Gen Zers are much more likely to have like mental illnesses, be diagnosed, as having a mental illness, because of particularly anxiety and depression are kind of the top two. Those are like that's like the Michael Jordan and the Scottie Pippen of mental health issues. My wife informed me of that because my wife's a therapist, and it's really kind of sad. I think part of it's just because life ain't like it is when you are a little kid in your mama's house. And nobody really told them that. And so they get out there and they're just like, oh my God, being an adult is so hard. And how am I going to do this? How am I going to pay for this and pay for that? And so what I want to do is go through some of this pretty quickly so that you just kind of have some blueprints and you can't say nobody told you, right? We can't use that whole excuse like, well, we don't have no wealth because they don't be telling us nothing. They just be hiding all the information. And so given that I understand wealth better than most white people, I would beg to disagree with that. All right. So by the way, I'm sending out a text for everybody who's not here in class now yet, just to let you guys know that we're starting. Sometimes you'll get the text, sometimes you won't. So the best way to really know that you're going to be here and be notified is when I send out the link to register for the Zoom. You probably want to register for the Zoom. That way you'll get an email notification, even if I don't send out a text notification, because some days I can't. It costs us money actually to send out text messages, believe it or not. So sometimes we can't message as much as we want to. And also our goal is not to bother you, but our goal is definitely to be consistent enough to let you know that we're serious about what we're doing. And I believe that wealth is just like physical fitness. You have to do it repeatedly every day if you want to be great at it. All right. All right. So here, let me share this with you. I'm gonna go through and first share my screen and let's see. This is something. This is like a cool reminder. My wife and what we're doing. And I believe that wealth is just like physical fitness. You have to do it repeatedly. I can't wait to see what they do if you want to be great at it. All right. All right. So here, let me share this with you.
Kind of a launch party in Chicago, and I'll
I'm
text
gonna
out
go
the link if you
through
guys want to
and
join. But
first
they
share my
they have
screen
hundreds of thousands of
and
followers, and
let's see. This is
it's
something.
really cool
This
to
is like
me
a cool reminder.
because all these
My
women are
wife and
smart,
what we're
and
doing,
I know Tiana does a
and
lot
I
of work
believe
with
that wealth
Master
is just
P,
like
and
physical
Shar
fitness. You
Curry
have to
has
do it
hundreds of
repeatedly. I
thousands of
can't wait to
followers,
see
and
what
my
they do.
wife
To be great at it. All right.
is one of
All
the
right. So
few
here,
black women who's a
let
full
me
professor
share
in
this
her
with you.
field. Like there's
So
PhDs,
so
there's
I'm gonna
professors,
go
there's
through if you
tenured
guys want to
professors, and then
join,
there's full
but share
professors.
my
So
screen
I really enjoy
and
the
let's see.
idea
This
of
is something
listening
really cool
to
to me
smart
because
black women talk
my wife
because
is
I don't
smart
think
and
that I think
I
that
know
sometimes
Tiana does a
we
lot of work
we
with
we we
Master P,
elevate
just like
and we
Shar
celebrate the
Curry has
ratchet,
hundreds of thousands
and
of
we
followers,
don't
and my
actually
wife
look into like
is
more
one of
thoughtful
the few
conversations that
black
can be
women who's
fun
a
and
full
engaging,
professor in her
but still
field.
kind of represent the
There's
very best of
PhDs,
us.
there's
Oh, somebody says there's
professors,
a
there's
sound. The
tenured
sound's
professors, and
echoing.
then there's
Okay, hold
full
on, give me a second.
professors. So I really enjoy the idea
Oh,
of listening to
holy crap!
smart black women
Give me
talk
one second.
because I don't think that I think.
Okay, sorry. Am I back? And is my sound back? Oh my gosh, that was so terrible. That was horrible. I had my audio off and I didn't hear that. So can you guys hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let me know if it sounds okay.
I am so sorry for that. Please forgive me. It just, man, I feel so bad. Let me know if the audio's good. Give me a yes if it's all right. Okay. Y'all were hearing that the whole time and nobody said nothing? Were y'all hearing it in the Zoom, or was that okay? It must have been because I turned on. I know what it was. I turned on the link. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. Please forgive me for that. All right. So anyway, so circling back, basically, I'm really proud of these women because because I like hearing what our women have to say, and I think that one step toward our really making sure that we don't let people do a divide and conquer on the black community is for black men to start really listening to black women, and women got to listen to the men. I think that's a problem in both directions. You have people that just think they know everything, and the easiest way to be an idiot is to be a know-it-all. Like the person who thinks they know everything is the person who usually knows nothing. So there you go. So they're doing a launch party in Chicago on the 11th, and I'll text out the link if you guys want to join, if you live in the Chicago area, and these are all cool ladies. All right, so what I want to show you,
Here are
I
five
did
things.
I did
Here are
something.
five
Let me play this real quick before we get to the kids stuff. This is interesting too. I put this on my Instagram, Dr. Boyce Finance. So here it is. Check it out.
five things you didn't know about how fashion addiction destroys relationships. First, 16% of women suffer from fashion addiction, and it's silently killing marriages across America. These hands carefully arrange $1,000 shoes while bills pile up unpaid on the kitchen counter. Second, couples where one partner spends over $500 monthly on clothing fight about money 5 times more often than normal couples. The arguments always start the same way: hidden shopping bags discovered behind bedroom doors. Third, the average fashion addict hides $3,200 in clothing purchases from their partner every single year. Secret credit card statements arrive while closets overflow with unworn designer clothes, tags still attached. Fourth, fashion spending addiction increases infidelity rates because partners desperately seek validation through appearance for others, not their spouse. Looking good for strangers becomes more important than building a life together. Fifth, relationships where fashion takes priority over savings have an 81% failure rate. When superficial values replace genuine connection, love doesn't stand a chance. Here are 5 things.
Okay, so that's really interesting, right? It really talks about this whole idea of the superficial and the dopamine related reaction to the superficial, right? Like I want to really be fly and keep up with the Joneses and show everybody how well I'm doing. And then the money kind of becomes a distraction. It attracts you to the wrong people. You react in the wrong way when you get in a situation where you do have resources, and next thing you know, the resources are gone. And this happens a lot, particularly when you talk about the celebration of like the celebrity culture. Celebrities are they're really marketing vehicles for the most part. They're there to promote lifestyles or looks that other regular people might fantasize about, so they start copying their favorite celebrity. And my wife sent me something the other day where she was showing me that most of the people that buy the really expensive stuff are like regular people. They're not like the celebrities don't have to buy their stuff. I remember one time Beyonce had a coat that she put out that was $40,000. I don't know if you all remember the coat she put out for $40,000. It was really interesting, right? Because first of all, Beyonce didn't buy a $40,000 coat, but then also I kind of speculated that they weren't really trying to sell the coat for $40,000. They were trying to make you feel like it was a $40,000 coat so that you would go buy it when they dropped the price to $5,000. And then that even begs the question, like, what really makes a coat worth $5,000? Like, what is it that's happening here? And so if you care about your relationships, these addictions, whether it's fashion addiction on one hand, or maybe something like a gambling addiction, or even worse, like drug addictions, things like that. Well, gambling addictions actually work just as bad or worse than a drug addiction. So be careful about that. Those are all things that don't just destroy your wealth; they destroy so many things around your wealth and kind of create like this horrible, sad life. That's why you see a lot of you'll see so many examples of people that get too deep into gambling and they go deep into debt because of it. And next thing you know, somebody has unalived himself because he feels like he's too much of a burden on his family. He can't get out of his situation. So the best way to solve a problem is to prevent the problem in the first place. So don't forget that, right? Now, what I also want to show you is, or actually, I'll just talk you through it. So you can go check it out on my Instagram, Dr. Boyce Finance, if you want to. But I'm gonna give you basically five things that rich people teach their kids that poor people don't, and I want you to go make sure that your kids know these things. All right, you ready? Write these down. Things down. Number one, wealthy people that understand wealth, they teach their children ownership and control. They teach them how to go into situations where they're the owner, they're the controller. I was thinking about Facebook and how Mark Zuckerberg, who's a smart guy, but I know there's for a fact that there's many people in our community who are just as smart, how he owns such a massive percentage of Facebook, right? This company is hundreds of billions of dollars in value, and he maintained a lot of the ownership, not just for economic reasons, but for power and control reasons. He didn't want to give away power and control. And a lot of times I've seen people sell things or take money in exchange for power and control without realizing how vulnerable that has made you, and how what a risky position you put yourself in. So seeking some sort of ownership and being willing to make a concession for ownership, avoiding the temptation of short, easy money for the long-term benefit of ownership and control is really important. I remember that scene in Boys in the Hood where they were giving all of them like these checks for like $80,000 to sign these contracts. They would give control to their manager forever, like their whole career. And they did that because they'll dangle the short-term gratification in front of you, in exchange for some sort of long-term deal with the devil. And it works really well with like 18-year-olds who are all into instant gratification, dopamine-driven lifestyles. They want, excuse me, they want that short-term high of feeling good and looking good, and they're willing to sacrifice their whole entire future for that. And that happens a lot. Did I say Boys in the Hood? Straight out of Compton. I'm sorry. It's all the hood movies, they get all mixed up in my head. Forgive me. And Ice Cube is a friend of mine, so I should probably be more respectful. But both of those movies were good. I even told Cube that I thought that his movie War of the Worlds was good. Don't tell him that I think that I was trying to be a supportive friend. It wasn't bad, but I put it on the directors. I don't put it on him. That's my guy, and I loved it. I loved the fact that he was playing this whole different role. He was like this father who was like a computer analyst for NASA, and it's like, how great is this, right? Ice Cube is like analyzing data for NASA, but I like that though because I like the idea of a guy wanting to grow up. He's not. He's like, I'm not the same dude in 1991 that had a Jerry curl that wanted to fight everybody. I'm a grandfather now, or probably he's close to that. Like so he's not a kid anymore. So I thought the movie was actually interesting, and I really thought it was interesting in terms of just thinking about big data, AI, and what that's going to do to the world. It's very important to understand that. Now, Kevin said he didn't like the movie either. Yeah, it Rotten Tomatoes kind of ate it up pretty bad. So it was, yeah, it was a rough day. But he's a good. I like the guy, so I'm not gonna say anything negative about. Yeah, we all got friends that struggle sometimes. Sometimes I struggle, and y'all have my. I was just a minute ago. I sounded like an alien, probably echoing in the background because my audio's bad, and y'all gave me grace. So give your friends grace. All right, second thing that wealthy people teach their kids that regular people don't is they teach their kids that every dollar is supposed to be working for you. That when you have money, money is not just something to be spent. Money is something to be put to work. If your money's working for you, then you don't have to work. And if you have enough dollar bills working for you, your dollar bills can do more for you than you ever could. So, for example, a lot of you know little things like how to sell stock options, for example. And I was explaining to a good friend of mine who has lots of money. I said, yeah, if you want to make money, I said, here's something you could probably do that wouldn't even require a lot of risk. I said, if you went out and you bought like, because you're sitting on so much money, if you bought yourself like a couple thousand shares of Nvidia stock, you could sell that option that expires on January 2nd, 1 month from now. And you could pick a strike price that's reasonable, and you can make $8,600 a month just from selling your stock option, and you don't have to do anything. And he was kind of floored by it. And he said, "You mean I don't have to gamble?" I said, "Well, no. I mean, risk is everywhere, but you don't have to do crazy stuff, because you've got a capital base." The reason that it's important to get a capital base is because that's like in when you were little and you played tag and you knew what it meant to get to home base. When you got to home base, you were safe. Well, you're also safe when you get a capital base. When you get a capital base, you are at home base because you are economically safe to some extent. And at that point, your goal is wealth preservation, and wealth preservation becomes extremely important because you want to avoid all the temptations that will pull you out of your place of security. Like one example would be like I saw someone that did a contrast between the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts. The Vanderbilts and Rockefellers were both loaded and extremely rich over 100 years ago. The Vanderbilts saw their security as an opportunity to be wasteful and irresponsible and sloppy. They were like, oh, hey, we got plenty of margin of error, so we can make a lot of errors, right? And so they're like, we got plenty of money, so we can spend lots of money. And that's a trap. That's a trap a lot of people fall into. It's a trap made by the devil himself. And you see that happen with a lot of artists and things where they'll brag about how much money they have and how that means they can spend a lot of money. Well, the Vanderbilts went broke. The Vanderbilts, they had 10 mansions. They had gigantic, like 80,000 square foot mansions in the middle of New York City or something ridiculous like that. Like these massive houses that were as big as city buildings, and they took up entire blocks. And they lost every mansion, they lost all their assets and all their resources, and now it's just a name. That's all it is. It's a university, the Vanderbilt University, stuff like that. They actually beat University of Tennessee this weekend, which was weird. I grew up watching Tennessee pummel Vanderbilt every year, so to see Vandy beat Tennessee was pretty interesting. But anyway, with that said, you have the Rockefellers. Though the Rockefellers, their number one goal was to think about wealth preservation. They spent a lot of time thinking about the family trust, setting rules and parameters for how you were going to use their money. They were not going to let you go out and blow their money like a sucker. They were not going to let you go out here and just trick off their money at the strip club. They are very, very particular about how that wealth is preserved because they understood that the job of that wealth was to preserve those resources for the next generation. That was it. Like there was no job more important than that one. And the idea that people sort of overlook that and the people don't think that that's important is very scary and very sad. It's unfortunate that there are people who don't give a damn about their kids, grandkids, or great grandkids, and they get money and they say something stupid like, "Well, when I die, it don't matter. I'll be dead, and I'm gonna spend my money. I'm gonna enjoy it while I'm alive." But when you die, there is an afterlife. There may not be an afterlife for you because I don't know what heaven looks like. I've never been there, but there's definitely an afterlife for the people that are going to be here after your life is over. And the prices are going to go up. Things are going to be more expensive. It's going to be harder. It's going to probably get harder and harder for people. There are AI experts out there right now that literally, there was one AI expert, I kid you not, who literally jumped out there and said, that he thinks that unemployment, because of AI, he said he thinks unemployment will hit 99% or something, or it could hit 95% in the next 20 years because AI will be able to do everything. Now, that sounds wild. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But he was on the show with that black dude, the black dude that has the little British accent that has a great platform. I forgot, it's Steven something. He's so good. He's so good. I love him. I like Marquez Brownlee. I like black people that don't have to go out here acting stereotypical to get a big following. Like these are guys I can really like rock with. I love that. When you see a guy that's just doing a minstrel show where he's just being a clown or whatever, it's like, yeah, we've always had black clowns, but to see black intelligent black people doing their thing and being rewarded for that, I love seeing that. But anyway, with that being said, you absolutely, absolutely, positively must think about wealth preservation. That means that the estate plan and the trust and all these things are extremely important, and that really is also a self-esteem exercise. You have to understand and accept that you are important enough to save and preserve your wealth long term. That throwing your wealth away is that's kind of immature. It's short-sighted. It's certainly selfish without a doubt, and it's a missed opportunity. And remember the word poor. What does the word poor stand for? It stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. So a lot of people are poor because they're poor. They're poor because they pass over opportunities repeatedly. So they're poor because they're poor, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. Now, no, I was not talking about Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is a different category. He's good. He's good with the sports and he's doing other things and politics. And I respect him enough to believe he should be heard. I met Stephen A. Smith one time in 2006 when I was in Madison Square Garden. I did an interview there. He was watching the interview and he just said something quick like, keep doing what you're doing. And I said, okay, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. And I was on his show. he had a show called Quite Frankly with Stephen A. Smith. It didn't last very long, but it was cool because he would bring on a lot of black people that had something important to say, that were thinkers. He bring in lots of black journalists. He brought me in there a couple, 2 or 3 times, and a lot of other people. So even though Stephen A. is not a liberal, and some people say he's a coon because he's a liberal, I think that we got to get out of that nonsense. I don't believe that any political party should get a right to decide who gets to be black and who's not. That's plantation stuff. That literally is plantation stuff. Yeah, I know some conservatives who are more committed to the black community than almost every liberal I know, and I know some liberals who will fight and die for black people like nobody else. And then I know some people in between that just, they're just doing whatever their political party tells them to do, and are not putting their own community first. They're just doing whatever their master tells them to do, their Republican or their Democratic master. And I'm not a fan of any of that. So if you ever try to pin me to a political party, you're gonna get it wrong, because I'm not doing it. I'm not participating in that. I vote black in every election, period. All right. So anyway, with that said, let me go back and read a little bit more, or share more about what wealthy people do that or teach their kids that poor people do not. And by the way, so one of you were asking about the stock options class. Yeah, I'll offer a discount for Black Friday. It's not Black Friday anymore, but I'll give you guys a discount in the next couple of days. So make sure you're on the text list. I'll send the link out probably tomorrow. So if you're not on the text list, text the word morning to the number 87948. And also, for those who are not inside the Zoom now, I'm going to actually give you a link to register for the Zoom, because some days I may not send out the text to let you guys know that we're meeting for class. And so you probably want the Zoom link to come to your email. All right, so here's the third. So the first two things that wealthy people teach their kids: one, they teach them that ownership is important. Two, they teach them that every dollar has a job. Your money should be working for you. Three, they teach their kids that networks are assets, and that relationships can out earn a paycheck. See, one of the things that we don't study enough, and I really think that this is a missed opportunity, is I think people should study relationships. I think that if you have people that that are in your life that you either care about, or people that can help you to elevate. Um, I would like study that process of knowing how to form the right relationships and maintain the right relationships. Wealthy people really get that. My brother, when he went to Cornell, he didn't apply for any jobs when he graduated. He wasn't there to get a job. He was there to go and meet the children of billionaires. And he did. And when he met children of billionaires, guess what? He's 40 something years old now, and he has friends that are billionaires now, right? So he can get on the phone and call up billionaires, right? I don't know these same people. I didn't go to Cornell. I went to Ohio State. Buckeye Nation, right? We're the best football team in the universe. But it wasn't the same type of network, right? So don't underestimate the power of the network. In fact, when people talk about college and what college can do, a big part of college is who you're connected with, or fraternities and sororities are really doing this really well at the highest levels. I'm not talking about the ignorant stuff, or the strolling and stepping. That's just for fun, I guess. I've never done those things, but the networking piece, I've seen it in action. I'm really impressed. I saw my brother taking a picture with Robert Smith, and they were all doing the same alpha handshake. I don't want to do it because I would do it wrong, and I'm not. I heard I'm not supposed to do that if you're not in the fraternity. But they were all just a bunch of alphas. They do something with their pinkies or something. Is that right? I can't remember. Anyway, but they were all doing the alpha thing, and and that was a natural connection point. Then I saw Stephen A. Smith doing something with the Qs. So even those networks can be valuable, I think. And so ultimately, I think that networking isn't just something you should do. I think it should be something you should study. You should probably, in fact, I think studying networking is more valuable than studying like even math or science or a history class. Not to say those things are not important on their own, but studying networking and knowing how to form relationships, knowing how to make a friend by being a friend, all these things like are so valuable, and that will really take you to the next level when it comes to business and life. Or that's a good shortcut. Or if you want to do it the hard way, do it the way I did it. I didn't network very well at all. That's my mistake. That's still my weakness. I've never been that great at that. And I used to say stupid stuff like, well, I don't have any time to be networking. I'm just working. And I worked really hard and I accomplished a lot because of it. And my natural networking is more digital. Like I'll just talk and a lot of people will know me. But in terms of forming those strong relationships, I didn't make that investment the way I probably should have. So what happens when you do that is you are a little more isolated. You have to do more things on your own and it takes longer. It's harder to do. Now, I feel like I was able to overcome it just because I was really good at what I did. I did a lot of work with technology. And now lots of people just kind of know me, right? So I go in places and they'll just kind of, there's a natural friendship that's there where people, if they already have heard of you or something, they want to be your friend. But really, but one thing I've always envied and had so much respect for are the people I know who just have these genuine friendships and relationships. And I've literally seen them just leapfrog the process by knowing the right person. And so I would encourage you, don't be stupid like me. This is not something I'm speaking about from positive experience where I can say, this is what I did, do what I did. I'm literally like that drunk uncle who tells you never drink alcohol because he spent his years as an alcoholic. And he can say, don't do that, boy. You drink too much of that wine, you're gonna end up in the trash can like me. Don't be like me, boy. So that's what I'm saying to you. Don't be like me. Study networking and tell that to your kids, right? Like being a friend really is an asset. Like I really just be friends with the right people too. That's the other hard part too. You get the wrong network, you end up getting dragged down by that. So you got to be thoughtful about who you even allow into your network. All right, so the next thing that they teach their kids that poor people don't is they teach their kids that taxes are optional. Yeah, that's a good one, man. Oh gosh, yeah, taxes. Yeah, when you make more money, the IRS is going to come try to get it. And in America, the craziest thing about America is that the people that have the least money are the ones who pay the most taxes. Wealthy people don't really pay taxes like that. They write everything off. The family business becomes the primary vehicle through which you do everything. You're doing sale leasebacks and using the Augusta rule to rent your own house out and just all these other crazy things, right? So a tax strategy is an important part of wealth preservation that a lot of people don't know about or talk about or think about. They just get their check and there's the withholding that naturally comes out, and that's all a lot of people think about. And then they wonder why it's so difficult to get ahead. Well, it's because a lot of the people at the top, the Donald Trumps and stuff, they don't pay taxes. They just don't. And so when people say, well, look, he didn't even make a profit that year. That shows he's a bad businessman. That shows me more so that you're a bad businessman because what you probably don't know is that a lot of wealthy people that run businesses, they don't want to have a profit, big profit. The reason they get rid of the big profit, they through depreciation or whatever tool they can use to get rid of the profit, is because they don't want taxes. They want to stay under the radar of the IRS. They don't want to be like, yeah, look at how big my profit is. And the IRS is like, okay, give me 40%, right? So a lot of wealthy people will literally buy assets and do things just so they don't make a profit. So they'll get that private jet that's super expensive because they're like, if I'm spending money on my jet, flying my family around, I get to write all that off, and so I get a discount on the fuel and the costs, and I don't, and also my tax bill's lower. So it doesn't mean that you should just invest in things just for the write-off, but tax deference and avoidance is like a masterful art that everyone should understand or think about at some point. Lastly, they teach their kids that wealth is typically built quietly, that wealth is not loud. Really wealthy families are not loud and obnoxious and go around bragging about how much money they have. It's cringy to tell everybody how much money you have. It's very stressful when everyone knows how much money you have. When that one time in 2014 or something, when Tyler Perry called me, the day before he called me, he was on the cover of a magazine because he made more money than anybody in Hollywood. He made $100 million that year. And all the white people were freaking out because they're like, how did this black guy make all this money and we don't know who he is? And I said, how does that feel to be on the cover of a magazine like it's the highest paid person in Hollywood? He said, I hate it. He said, I hate it because nobody wants everybody to know how big their paycheck is. And he said, also, they don't understand how expensive it is for me to run my operation. He said, they don't know that I just wrote a check to Alan Payne for $2 million. They don't know how much it costs to run this studio, right? And so a lot of times people that have a paycheck mentality will see a big number, a big flashy number, and really think that's really how much money the person has. or they'll see someone's a billionaire. They'll think they have $1 billion in their bank account. No, usually they don't have $1 billion in their bank account. Diddy was a billionaire at one point, and Diddy actually stated, he said, I do not have $1 billion. I do not even have close to that amount of money. When Kanye West was declared a billionaire, it was based on a multiple of his income level. They said, okay, you made over $100 million from Adidas this year, which, unfortunately, for whatever reason, he kind of threw that away. And they did a multiple, and they said, okay, so you're a billionaire because you have $1 billion worth of assets, but he didn't have $1 billion worth of cash. He never did, right? And so understand that difference between what you have in cash versus what you have in assets, and what your net worth is versus what you actually are able to afford to do, and also looking at the fact that when you have this high income, that you it could come with massive expenses. I think that's important, and that's one of the reasons why people that have lots of wealth typically are very quiet about it. They don't really, the only people that are usually loud are people that either got the money for the first time, and they haven't learned that lesson yet. Nobody screwed them, nobody's robbed them, nobody's sued them or whatever, or they're lying, or they're just pretending. They're just giving a show that other, fake it till you make it type stuff. So wealthy families are really quiet. They protect things. Warren Buffett had a granddaughter who violated a family rule. She talked to the media, and she didn't even say anything bad. She said something simple like, my grandfather loves cheeseburgers. It was something like that, but whatever. And he cut her out of the will. He said you're not part of the estate plan. I think that's kind of mean. I mean, it's your granddaughter, man. Come on, that's cold. But still, though, he was like, no, we do not talk to the press. We are not going to be the subject of scandal. And if you think about it, there's never really been any crazy family controversies about the Buffett family in the media. I'm sure if they wanted to find them, they could, but he just had a clear line, right? So wealth protection. It definitely also means, like, if you're part of a wealthy family, if you bring somebody home and say, this is the new love of my life, they'll hire a private investigator to find out what this person's background is, because they don't want somebody sneaking in as a Trojan horse and taking the family assets. So protecting the wealth is really important. That's something kids should learn about early. Also, understanding things like estate planning and stuff like that, I think, is absolutely critical and absolutely essential. Now, I have a surprise. Some of you were asking about this, but the new Black Wealth calendars are out for 2026. Hooray, hooray, right? I know a lot of you guys love the calendar, and it's really cool because it allows you to put these principles into action in your family on a daily basis. And so remember, you are a product of what you do every single day on a repetitive basis. So we ordered just enough for you guys. We are going to sell out. We sell out every year because the calendars are really popular. And this year we decided to call it the Black Wealth Rebellion. And what happens is every month there's a principle attached to that month. And I'm in the calendar a lot. I hope that doesn't come off as obnoxious, but yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how that looks, but that's what my team put together, and I'll just show you what it looks like, and I'll share the link for those that want to take a look at it closer. And so here's what it looks like. That's me on the cover, and it's the 2026 Black Wealth Rebellion, the Wealth Rebellion calendar. And there's two ways you can obtain it. You can either do a bundle where it comes with the calendar and one of what we call the Dr. Boyce cheat sheets, which is budgeting for financial security, as well as a digital course called A New Paradigm for Black America: Wealth, Education, Family, and Community. And that's based on Project 2070. If you remember, Project 2070 is a goal that I set in 2013 to make sure that our people were the most economically intelligent people on the planet by the year 2070. It is 12 years in, and we are probably 10 years ahead of schedule. Like, literally, our community's on its way to being known throughout the world for our economic intelligence. The growth rate of black owned businesses is astronomical. Black men are among the fastest growing group of investors in the country. If you know, for example, they say, what is it? Less than half of all Americans participate in the stock market. In the Black Business School, the number is over 91%. And so we're on our way. Like you are doing it. It's happening. It's going. So and that was my determination in 2013. And fortunately, Minister Farrakhan joined me to support the idea, as well as Cornell West. And I just went around the country promoting this all through 2013. And I'm very consistent. So when I start something, I want to finish it. And so you got 12 laws of prosperity for 2026. And so you got an option. You can either do the bundle for $99, which includes the calendar, the cheat sheet, and the course, or you can just do the calendar alone, and that's $29.99. So I'll share the link inside the chat, and you guys can take a look. I'll also text the link out a little bit later if you guys want to get access to the calendar, and if you order it now, you can get it before Christmas and all that good stuff. We got a whole bunch of them in the house. I'll ship them right out of my house right to you. So, what else? So one other thing that's going on. Some of you are asking me about stocks and what's a stock to pick. I'll tell you a stock. I gave you a list of what Dr. Boyce is buying in the stock market program, drboycestockmarket.com. One of the stocks that I liked was Citigroup, and the ticker symbol C, the letter C, and so I picked that stock out because what's happening now is that the stock market is, it's giving signs that it might be time to kind of protect your neck a little bit. I think Bitcoin got its butt kicked a little bit today, a little bit more. I bought some more today. I bought some more. Actually, I didn't buy Bitcoin today though. I bought Bitcoin yesterday. I bought some Solana today, Solana, and basically, like, Um, people don't know exactly what 2026 is going to look like, but most analysts are predicting that it's going to be positive for the market. But a lot of times they'll say that until something bad happens, and then all the projections will go negative. So as new information arrives, they adjust their expectation. And I think the challenge is they don't have all the information they need. The Trump administration does not make it easy to figure out what's going to happen next because it's a little bit ghetto, a little bit chaotic. But I do know that Trump mentioned picking a new Fed chair, and he says he's already picked his person. It's probably going to be somebody that's going to lower interest rates. When he makes that announcement, I anticipate the stock market will benefit. But also the problem is that his meddling in the Federal Reserve reduces the credibility of the Fed. The Fed is supposed to be independent. It's not supposed to be, sort of infiltrated by the White House. So in the short term, money can be made, but in the long term, you'll see a consistent decline in the value of the dollar as a result of people not trusting the Fed as much as they used to. So that's the cost. Um, but yeah, but Citigroup, the ticker symbol C, they have a massive global footprint and they're in a lot of emerging markets. They have trading, wealth management, institutional banking, stuff like that. They're cost cutting right now. I think that their management's really, really good. And they also have one of the lowest valuations among major banks, meaning their multiple is actually low, which could mean that this stock, once people realize how valuable it is, the price could go up. I think it's a good long-term investment. Nothing's guaranteed, but that is a stock that I like. So if you want to see all the other stuff that's going on in what Dr. Boyce is buying, you can go to drboycestockmarket.com. That's drboycestockmarket.com. All right, so is today the last day for the discount on the A, B, and C in October? Yeah, today is the last day. So if you want to get the discount passes for the All Black National Convention of 2026, which is going to be the weekend of October 16th, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. And that's where we get together once a year and we see each other and hang out and teach and learn and grow and connect and have fun and everything else. The convention's a blast. So if you haven't been before, come down there, bring your kids. We have a children's track. We also have a track for young people called Young, Black, and Rich. And so if you have people in your family that are in their 20s and they want to come, there'll be other 20 somethings there as well. So it's up to you to decide how you want to proceed, but it's a great space in terms of black love and black success. All right, so let's see, what else did I want to mention? Um, one other thing. Oh yeah, yeah. Here's something crazy. If you want to see something really ridiculous, let me just show you something really stupid. This is gonna You're gonna be like, man, he's a weirdo. All right, so but I gotta show it to you. All right, so let me see. Hold on, here we go. All right, so here is first thing. Okay, first thing is, I went to Ohio State and got my doctorate, and we kicked the crap out of Michigan this weekend. So That's important. Not that you asked for this information, but you have to know these things. And the second thing is, I decided I was curious to see what it'd be like to be a rapper. And with AI, anything is possible. So here's me as a
We
rapper.
built it from the block, now we're running like a bank vault. Legacy in my DNA, I never took the chains off. Diamonds in my smile, generational style, teaching my people. Look, we built it from the block, now we're running like a bank vault. Legacy in my DNA, I never took the chains off. Diamonds in my smile, generational style, teaching my people.
Okay, there we go. So that's me as a rapper. If you ever want to see what I look like as a rapper, there we go. And we were trying to figure out like what my rap name should be, and I think somebody said Big Bank Boyce, and or we had 401 instead of 401k, it'd be 401ak because I'm a gangster rapper and I might do your taxes or I might kill you. Invest Star, get it? Invest Star like Gangstar. I think I picked Big Bank Boyce. That was very popular. Big Bank Boyce. Sir Save a Lot. That was interesting. That's interesting. Boyce in the Hood, get it? Boyce in the Hood. Doctor Dividend, and so all my rapper friends chimed in, and they were kind of whoa, what is happening here? Because Willie D from the Ghetto Boys, he's my buddy, and I said, yeah, I was thinking about a name like Ghetto Boys, the Ghetto Boys. Like, but I have to get Willie's permission for that one. And D1 came in, and all my rapper friends just for whatever reason got a kick out of that. But anyway, so that's me. That's me from a parallel universe. That's what I'd be if I was if I just chose to be a professor. But if I chose to be a rapper, I'd be taking over the game. I'd be running things over in hip hop. But y'all lucky. Y'all lucky I'm doing this finance thing. So don't test me up in here. All right. Anyway, so so anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. It was great to see you. And tomorrow morning we're gonna meet for class. And if you want to get the calendar, here's the link again for the calendar. If you want to go take a look at the Black Wealth calendar for 2026 and get it before Christmas. Also, I think the URL should be blackwealthcalendar.com in case you can't see the link. But here's the link, and and you'll hear from me soon. And I hope you guys have a great day. And make sure you get on the text list. Text the word morning to the number 87948. I'll send you a notification, let you know when we start class. All right. Have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Thank you.